now to mobilize people to go register in order to go and vote overwhelmingly. And this is the discussion that we had last week. Yes, some people were still concerned that if the affairs of the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission is going to be taken by the Central Intelligence, then we are likely not going to be having a fair election that we are going to be having in Zimbabwe. But some other people also came with their views that we need not worry because the Central Intelligence has always been taking part as far as our elections are concerned. So we need to make sure that we continue to do as what we need. So this is in as far as our topic last week is concerned. I'll quickly go to Dr. Maifa. I don't know if you can bring knife. He's requesting to speak while I'm quickly going through the news that we had. The news, I'm going to be speaking about some of the news that came out of Zimbabwe from last Sunday up to today. What is it that caught my mind? One thing that caught my mind the whole of last week, was the issues to do with the helicopters that were said to have been bought from Russia. And it came as a surprise to me on the priorities that the government has made to make sure that they are going to be bringing in helicopters, and these helicopters are going to be used as ambulances. And some people were discussing and saying, really, why would the government want to bring about these helicopters when the schools are not well furnished, when the hospitals do not have medicine, when the hospitals do not have the infrastructure that would accommodate our patients, but we go on to procure these helicopters. And then the discussion further went to an extent that some people ended up saying, but why is it that Russia is bringing about those helicopters to Zimbabwe? Is it that they are bringing these helicopters in good faith, or there is something that is happening behind the scenes? People discussed about it. And then the other thing that also caught my mind as far as the news in Zimbabwe is concerned is the journey that our the acting spokesperson, Advocate Fadzaima Here, who went to United Nations, speaking about experiences in as far as human rights violations in Zimbabwe are concerned. And she went there, she portrayed what is on the ground in as far as how human rights are being violated in Zimbabwe. And when she was highlighting that, she actually brought about issues to do with her personal experiences. And I just wanted to quickly, before we go on to our topic that we are going to be discussing today, to say we had issues with some people from other quarters of the political divide who were concerned about how she narrated her ordeal as far as human rights in Zimbabwe is concerned. There were people, in particular from ZANU-PF, who said that Fadzaima Here did not speak good about Zimbabwe. I want to say, they said she didn't speak good about Zimbabwe in bold letters. Zimbabwe in bold letters. It was something that people really spoke at length about, particularly from ZANU-PF quarters. And there was a debate that came about. And during on different spaces, there was an unfortunate incident that took place where one of the people from within the speakers came out and suggested that because she sold out the country, then they needed to actually devise a system where about 5 or so people have got to go to the Zimbabwe Robert Mugabe International Airport, wait for her, and met her with beatings there. This is what has just happened. And because of that, there were also discussions that took place about that, to say, are we having such a thing in Zimbabwe where people are saying, because somebody has been invited to the United Nations, such an esteemed platform, she is speaking about all that she is speaking about human rights violations in Zimbabwe, and then she is supposed to be meted with beatings. These are some of the things that we heard. And some people also went on to discussing issues to do with the difference between Zimbabwe and ZANU-PF. And if somebody is speaking about what the violations that are being perpetrated by ZANU-PF, does that resemble Zimbabwe? So this is the discussion. Dr. Amaifa, I want to come to you if you still have anything before we just start our program.
Thank you, Comrade Denford. You have mentioned most of the important news in Zimbabwe. The issue of Fadzai Mahere has been circulating, and then also the issue that the opposition MPs raised a motion for diaspora vote. And we saw a few video clips, a few audios of what was happening there. People are really advocating for us and requesting for diaspora vote. But of course, it's not gonna come on a platter. People are resisting. Some people are resisting. The other thing that caught my mind is that of our bad roads in Zimbabwe, although the president is said to have built beautiful roads. I saw horrific accidents. One, I think it was Chivitenov. One, I think, was around Umtoko. It was just so sad, so horrifying. People burning to death. So I think something really has to be done as far as our roads are concerned. I also heard news about an outbreak of rabies, and then people were being asked to buy their own injection, and after that they pay $20 to go to the hospital to be injected, something like that. And I'm like, my God, where do villagers get money to buy an injection? Where do villagers get even the $20 to go to the hospital? So those are some of the things that really caught my attention as far as Zimbabwean news in general is concerned. Thank you, host.
Yes, thank you very much. Dr. Ranga, I see you. Mkoma Knife, I can also see you. What I'm quickly going to do is to say that we had somebody who could have spoken at depth about the life and the political history of Tonderai Ndira, the card that we are having his memory today about. But unfortunately, I think it's because of network problems in Zimbabwe, as well as they could be having some issues to do with electricity there. We haven't got them with us, but if they come, we are going to be letting them speak about the life of the late Tonderai Ndira. But I will briefly speak before I come to you, Mkoma Knife and Dr. Ranga. I just want to quickly, I don't know, Dr. Mefa, can I quickly speak about the life of Tonderai Ndira before we just get to what really happened in Zimbabwe since independence until now, as far as political violence is concerned?
That would make sense because some people might not be aware of the person that we are talking about. So a brief history of Mkoma Ndira would help.
I'm thinking we need to retweet the space because the amount of people we have, it's a weekend, so there are people who should come and join the space. So maybe before you start it, then you might end up repeating it. Let's all of us now retweet, give it about 5 minutes, and let the more people come, and then do your presentation. I think will be very cool. What do you think?
Lovely, lovely. Thank you very much, Naif. I appreciate it. I always forget as we start our space that we need to encourage people who are here to retweet. And even if you've got anyone that you think could have so much of interest in as far as the topic that you are talking about, you can even DM them and say we are having this. I always have you, Naif, DMing me when there's something that you think I need to listen to it. Then I jump to it. So thank you very much, Naif. But for now, let's have you guys at the podium to just generally speak before I start to talk about Tonderai Ndira's journey and his life. If you've got anything that you need to speak about this topic, Dr. Ranga and then Knife.
Hello, my brother Denford, my sister Dr. Maifa there, my brother Knife. We share so many spaces together, and everybody on the spaces. Hello, good day. Um, you bring up another very good topic this week, my brother Denford, and I enjoyed the recap in terms of what has happened this past week. If I may, I was gonna just comment a little bit on what has happened this past week also. Just to say that obviously the spokesperson, the citizen spokesperson Fazai Mahere, did a fantastic job. When you see and hear Varakashi crying all over Twitter spaces and everywhere, to the extent where they threaten our leaders, including the spokesperson on Twitter spaces, it means that she delivered the message better than anybody else could. So we are very well represented. She talked about the issues that actually connect with the topic of the day today. Violence has been an issue that since in 1980, we shouldn't have been talking about violence that is done by our own government. But you know about Kukura Wundi, you know about August 2018, and so many other violent instances that have been promoted by those running the government. And obviously, we lost some lives, some citizen lives like Tonderai Ndira. We should never have happened. We should never happen in our country. We should not be afraid that the government of the day will go after its citizens. Unfortunately, that's what's going on. And one issue that is very topical that was brought on the last couple of days because of the electoral amendment bill is the diaspora vote. Hey, we are when whether we're in the moon or whether we're in the sea, whether we're in America, whether we're in Russia, whether we're in the motherland, in Zimbabwe, in South Africa, wherever we are still Zimbabweans. And that's why today all of us gathered here are talking about Zimbabwe and how to make our country better. So there are no citizens that are more equal than others. We are all Zimbabweans. We can't say because I'm a Zimbabwean in America, so those in Zimbabwe shouldn't do this or shouldn't do that, shouldn't vote, shouldn't do that. And that's what we need our government to understand, that this is about us, the citizens. And that's why it's very important for us to do everything possible so that this August we can have a citizen-centered government where we are proud as Zimbabweans, wherever we are as citizens. The reason why people are so mad with Advocate Mahere is that she was just telling her life story, her lived experiences in Zimbabwe, the persecution that she has gone through, the lawfare that she has been subjected to. And that is true for a lot of citizens like Job Scala, Jacob Ngarifume, and so forth. We shouldn't be talking about that. We should be talking about development. That brings us to the next issue, nyaya yemahelicopter. Inini ndiri chiremba saka kana mukati mahelicopter auya kusimudza vanhu kuti vaende kuzvipatara, I should be getting very excited. But you know what? I am extremely worried. I'm extremely worried because we supposedly spent 320 million US dollars to buy 32 rundown old Russian made helicopters. They are not even brand new from what I understand. And that price is heavily inflated. Even if, let's say, that was the correct price, what can we as Zimbabwean citizens do with 320 million US dollars. Just come to think of it. We could buy, someone made an estimate that we could buy up to 10,000 ambulances, which would cost 120 US dollars, 120,000 US dollars to 300 and something US dollars each. And that would save the whole country. Okay? 32 ambulance, 32 helicopters. Who are they gonna save? When your Ampuya village gets sick and needs to get to the hospital, do you think that helicopter is gonna fly to the village just to service your Ampuya? The answer is obviously no. And that gives credence to some theories that, well, this has nothing to do with us, the citizens. This is about those in power realizing that their time is running out and they are gonna take as much of our state resources as possible on their way out. That's one premise. The other premise that they have mentioned is maybe this is part of a scheme to figure out how they can steal the next election. I mean, you can't blame citizens for thinking like that. These are misplaced priorities. And unfortunately, it means that citizens will continue dying. It's not like the money is not there. The money is there, but it's being stolen, misused, so many other crazy things going on. And I don't think it's the wisest thing for our government to be leaning in on Russia. Okay? It's democracy versus autocracy. And I don't think that autocracy is going to win. Unfortunately, for these people, it's not going to work. You can be on the side of Russia all you want. I don't think that they are going to win in the war against Ukraine. Well, my brother, I can talk on forever, as you as you are very aware now. I'm no longer on the farm. I'm right at home, and my network is working just fine. So you need to stop me. But thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Ranga. Thank you, Dr. Ranga. Yes, it did. Is true that what Leader Mahere said has ruffled some feathers somewhere. And also the purchase of those helicopters is a sign of misplaced values. When Comma Denford asked me about the week review, I forgot something very important that happened. There was a presidential pardon, and I think Chukurubi released over 1,000 people, and all across the country, maybe 4,000 prisoners were released. I was surprised that number one, only 100 women were released, and I was surprised that none of our own was released. I thought Champion Sikala would be released. Nothing was ever mentioned, but I could hear people testifying, a 60-year-old, 62-year-old testifying that he was in prison because he had molested his 5-year grandchild. I'm like, why do you get out such a person and leave somebody who looks innocent to me like Scala? So that's something that happened. And most likely those who came out belong to one political party. I don't know. I've no evidence. I'm just assuming it's a subject for discussion for another day. Because of time, let's move on to Common Knife.
Good morning, Zimbabwe. Good morning, Queen, Maifa, Tanfor, everybody. I wish we get more people to come in here. We need to keep retweeting, and share it in your DMs. If you copy that link in the left bottom next to the tweet box, it will say copy link, and then you can send it in a link in your DMs to your people. I've already sent some out to my people. But yeah, so the problem with human rights abuses in Zimbabwe, there are many, many, many Tonderai Ndiras. Many, many, many. I'm one of them, but I was not killed. I was lucky. There are many. There is my friend from Bulawayo, Samuel Kumalo, who was the MDC. They beat him up too. He's scared of politics. He doesn't want to talk no more. He doesn't trust politics. He's just quiet. So there are many of these. There are many of these. But my thing is like, when we hear the story about what made the European Jews, the story of Holocaust, what made that become the winning force which changed everything? I'm going to just say my version, and I don't know if most of you understand the history, you might understand. So when the Jews were running in Europe, they were not liked because there were money changers. They were bypassing the banking systems and moving money around. And so they end up having more control of the economy of these countries. They're the ones who had the movie industry at the time in Hollywood and in Europe, in Germany mostly. They created and documented these images which became the most horrific symbol, which people could visualize and see. And that is what ended up making the change. It's like it was them putting this documenting of these atrocities to a point where people could sit and watch it, regardless of it, if it was some of it made for television, but it had a much more deeper impact than only just having the documentation in the files of Amnesty International, in some Google search where it's stories, one picture, two pictures about Zimbabwe, Kukurawundi atrocities. My friend was killed August 1st, 2018. First person killed at those protests, shot in the head, Gavin Charles, right? There's a photograph of the guy who killed him, but that police officer is still working. So my thing is the way we tell this story of the atrocities, it has to be told in that same kind of level. We need to have victims. We need to have them speak. We need to hear it straight out of the horse's mouth. Right now, the amount of people who can actually speak on a real experience of Kukurawundi, they're getting less and less. Then soon there will be no more. Then it's just going to be stories. So without us being able to use our platforms and our resources abroad to garner this kind of like support to kind of document these victims, these asylees who are living abroad, who are scared to speak on spaces. People like me, I've been tortured. I've been tortured by the Zimbabwean government, cut my Achilles tendon, beat me up. They followed me to the hospital while I was in hospital. They wanted to take me out of hospital while I had the plaster of Paris and crutches on my leg. Then I had to run away. So I know these things. I told my story to the United Nations for my asylum. But that's where our story is ending. That's where our story is ending, in the file somewhere. We need to get together as Zimbabweans who are serious about this, and we need to get all of our collective living victims while they're still alive to be able to have this, and we create this video documentary so that it's something that can be always represent all of this conversation. Because man, there's a lot of victims. I could name some friends who were walking with me the day when I was tortured. There's two of them who, till today, nobody has known where they are. Till today, and this is over 30 years now, right? And then there's some of them, I end up finding them by accident on Instagram, on Facebook. Oh, you're alive, you're in England. And they're also telling me, man, you are alive, we thought you died. So it's like that kind of story needs to be told. So that's my point, is we need to look at this in a more serious way, where we're documenting these things and having them available in a way that when the viewer sees it, they must walk away feeling it. Just try to Google one of these Holocaust things which they used to play back in the day. You see how that shit will impact you. And we need to think that way. Thank you for the space, guys. Let's retweet, get more people inside.
Right. Thank you very much, Knife, there. And you have come with a very, very exceptional angle. It is really the essence of us coming together here to speak about this. And I also would have wanted a situation where we have got people who could have personal experiences during even between 1980 up to the present life. 2000, I know most people have got memories of 2000 and 2008. These were the bloodiest electoral periods that we had. But between the lines, we know there are a lot of people who experienced such things. So we would want people who have got their relatives who, them like Naif says, experienced such torture, such brutality from the regime because of your political choice. We need that spoken. And as we have just spoken, I'm going to quickly speak briefly about the life that Tonderai Ndira lived and what he stood for. Tonderai Ndira anga ari murume akakurira munzvimbo yeMabvukutafara, the east of Harare. And he was an activist who wanted, actually he was born in 1975. So anga ari munhu wekuti nguva ye 2000, between 2000 and 2008 vanga vari vamwe vechidiki vanga vachimhanya nemusangano uye they wanted people to make sure that they make their political choices. So during that time, he is one of the people who went together with the vakatanga musangano movement for democratic change. Remember, the movement for democratic change came about in 1999, and during that time, those were the youths who were mobilizing people to come together, and it started in the urban areas. They were going right through into the rural areas, urban areas like Kwanasekeoku, vachifambisa ishoko remusangano, and because of that, it is when the regime started to realize that he is one of the voices that has to be clipped down. Why? Because he is conscientizing the interest of the most vulnerable people, the most voiceless people. But he didn't even consider that he was a target by the police, the Central Intelligence Organization, or any other state agencies. He continued his work. There was a moment in which Tonderai Ndira was accused of having participated in the killings of kana paine vanorangarira angambori MP we-MDC ainzi Trudy Stevenson. So ZANU-PF itself actually accused him and he was arrested. Luckily, he was released. Nekuda kuti vakashaya umbowo, and it was a trick yeZANU-PF yekuti vangomboimplicata. How can one kill his own? So these were some of the experience that Tonderai Ndira faced. And the Tonderai Ndira is survived by mukadzi wake umwe chete nevana vatatu. The reason why I'm talking about my Dependence Act and Kuti, we have got the legacy that is left by the victims of political violence in our country. We need to find out what is really happening to those people who are left behind by the people who are brutalized by ZANU-PF. But for your own information, I think I just wanted to quickly highlight that it is not the responsibility of ordinary citizens to make sure that they take care of the dependence of those who are left by political violence. It should be the responsibility of the state. Unfortunately, the state is the perpetrator, and definitely, even if we go down the political history lane, violence, we realize that from 1980, my victims we haven't had a situation in which the regime took responsibility and helped those people who lost their loved ones.
Ndinetwa wezhira munyatiri pano pa Masvingo Remand Prison.
Hello viewers, we take a short break. I think our system had a glitch. As we resolve it, we take a break, then we can continue. I think that history is very important to listen to. I will reconnect you when the system has gained. I'll play some few videos as we wait. I think a few minutes, maybe 5 minutes, it will be restored, or even less. So I'll play 1 or 2 songs here as we wait for them to resolve whatever has happened to that platform we're listening from. So yeah, that's it. But you were hearing that history or how Tonderai Ndira was killed. Something is devastating, something that is difficult to understand, but that's the country we are in. That's what we have. That's what we are going through. So I'm going to play this song as we wait for
Okay, anzi wakaregister kuvota chikomana chipinde triple C president Nelson Chamisa. Zimbabwe oye oye.
the live broadcast is back. So I'm switching back to the live broadcast, and we are going to continue listening to what we are listening to.
40, no.
Thank you.
Even though Varakashwa he said something, it's worth paying attention to. Probably, let me just read it to make it clear. Presentation I'm going to do it all. Temba Mliswa said, when I talk about violence and ZANU-PF shop, I'm not a of. I was Eve and part provincial chairman. It's therefore unfortunate to find opportunists and keyboard party members whose knowledge of ZAN amounts to merely getting a party card and keyboard party members shameful acts of violence. Knowledge of ZAN amounts to merely get people like Temba, like I said, like Afambane ZANU-PF, they know the inside and the outside of ZANU-PF. We had people like Jim Kunaka, I think commission part of the commission, the Amasana commission. We had people actually testify what they used to do. The reason Andrew was Tonderai Ndira, if you know the history, if you know the history of ZANU-PF, you would understand the party known as ZANU-PF. ZANU-PF is a cult. But ukada kuona zinaitwa ZANU-PF kana vanozobudamo vakutaura, you would understand the operations of ZANU-PF kuti mune element yekudeurwa kweropa. But that now comes with a cost. Sorry
to you, Mkuma Basta. I'm not undermining you, but ndambonzwa Mkuma Shepherd vasati vataura mambo soso vangu vachiti Mkuma Shepherd vanodambudziure rebhati ravo raakupera. Would you, I don't know if it can be an inconvenience kuti tivape vataura uye vada kuenda kwaenda. Apologies about that.
That's fine. My page, sure.
Okay, before I give the opportunity to Mkoma Shepherd, I just want to welcome back everybody who was with us in the previous one that just crashed. And for the other ones who are just coming in for the first time, we are having this space in memory of the late Tonderai Ndira, a political activist who is a founding member of the MDC. And he participated in a lot in as far as the political activism in Zimbabwe. We want to have a memory of his activism this month because this is the month in 2008 when he lost his life. Among our speakers, we've got one who was so close to Tonderai Ndira, and he, as our space crashed, he was in the process of speaking to us, telling us how the events unfolded during the time that we later lost Mkoma Tonderai Ndira. So back to you, Mkoma Shepherd. You can go ahead with what you were telling us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Sorry, last presentation I was speaking in Shona. I wanted to avoid some people around me to hear. Anyway, let me speak in English so that I can accommodate everybody. Welcome, everybody. Right. I'm not going to start from where I ended, like to 1999 when we started meeting with Tonde, when we were in MDC as youth and so forth. But let me just start from 2008 until Tonderai was abducted and subsequently murdered. We had spent the previous day together on the 13th. We were together that previous night, and we had just had our election on the 27th of March. Or the 29th of March that year, and we had roamed to victory. we had won that election with no doubt. We had the election results, because where we were playing our cards, we were telling the results, and we definitely roamed to victory that year. Unfortunately, ZANU-PF did not want to lose that election. They didn't want the results announced. So what they did first is they started killing my uncle on the 12th of April that year. After killing my uncle, we arranged, my other uncle was injured to be put in a safe house in Harare. And this was, Tonderai Ndira arranged everything. And where my uncle was staying, this is where Tonderai Ndira was staying. It was a safe house. Then in the evening, on the 13th, in the evening, we drove Tonde. We left Tonde at the safe house. And then I was dropped home. The following morning when I went to work, this is when I was called by Honorable Chidakwa that, look, something bad has just happened. I said, what? He said, Tonderai has been picked up by the CIOs. So I said, how? Then I left my place of work, then went home to remove my uniform. Then I put on my civilian clothes. I went to Mavuku. When we got to Mavuku, this is when we heard the story that, look, there was an unmarked car with people in the car armed with AK assault rifles. So these guys, they came. They missed Tonde's place. They went down the road. Then they asked, where does Tonde live? Then they were redirected where Tonde was. They got to Tonde's place. His wife was sweeping outside. Then they asked, where is Tonderai Ndira? Then they were told, Tonde is asleep, he's inside the house. Then when they got inside the house, then they picked Tonde. When they picked Tonde, they started assaulting him. They tied his mouth so that he doesn't cry. And they started assaulting him, he was like badly injured. His wife was there, his kids were there when he was being attacked. Then they dragged him, they tied him, then dragged him to the car. He was only wearing his pants. Then they put him in the car, they drove away. When they drove away, when I got there, this is the story that I was told. Then we said, okay, where do we start, guys? Then guys said, okay, always when Tonde is picked up by police, he's detained at Rhodesville police station. So can we start with the Rhodesville police station? So we went with Rhodesville police station. When we got there, we were told by the officers that no, we didn't receive Tonderai here. We've got no one with that name. So we said, okay, fine. So which police station do we go? Then we started planning which police stations to approach, where we used to know Tonde will be locked up. Then when we were about to leave, one of my colleagues is a policeman. We used to play football together in Chinoy. He called me back. I said, Shebat, can you come here? So I went there. He said, are you still in Chikurube? I said, yeah, I'm still in Chikurube. He said, okay, fine. My friend, I'm sorry. There is a car that came here, an unmarked car. The people in the car were armed and they had a dead body in that car. I said, a dead body. He said, yeah, did you see the body? He said, no, I didn't see. They wanted to dump the body here. But we told them that we are police. We have to document everything that happened. Where did you pick this dead person? So they just they stormed out of the police station and started shouting at police officers. Then they drove off. This is exactly what I was told. So we were optimistic that we are going to find Tonde alive. We never thought that would be Tonde. So, what's happening? Yes, right. I thought I was cut off. So we were optimistic. We started looking for Tonde in every police station, Harare Central Police, Mbare, everywhere. We couldn't find him. Then we went back home to sleep. Since we had other two bodies which we wanted to go and bury, because this is the time when Kai Ninyeve and Man Soldier, Godfrey Kauzan, were murdered. Including Beta Chokurama, they were murdered. So we were going to bury these two guys at Warren Hills, these three guys at Warren Hills Cemetery. We had Nyeve and the Man Soldier, got it, two of them. So when we got to the mortuary in Parenyatwa, this is when Bana, Tonderai Ndira's brother, don't listen to Monzora. Monzora is talking. Monzora is talking fiction. Because Monzora was not there. I wonder when Monzora is saying he identified Tonde. Tonde was identified by Barnabas Ndira, his young brother. Because when we got there were bodies strewn all over the floor. You see, and the Tonde's body was at an advanced decomposition. You understand? So no one could recognize Tonde during that time. But the Bana said, hey, there is someone I've seen with a wristband there. This must be Tonde. So we all came back. And we gathered on that boat, and we all concluded that, this was Tonderai Ndira, because he had his pants on and nothing else. You understand? So this is how Tonde was identified. From there, we proceeded to bury the two. This is when we were attacked, when we were at the Warren Cemetery, at the Warren Hill Cemetery. We were attacked by ZANU-PF. They stoned us. We had to leave, to run away, leaving the dead bodies there. Then after police came, we returned back. We buried our two guys. Then we went back. We started making arrangements for burying Tonde. You understand? These are the events that happened, ladies and gentlemen. 2008 was not an easy year for us. I thank you. If there are any questions, then I'm willing to answer those questions before I leave, because I'm running out of battery. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much, Mukoma Shepherd there, and we are having information from somebody who actually witnessed what happened. Dr. Maifa, I want to hand it back to you if you've got anything that you would want to ask, because it seems Mukoma Shepherd is running to another occasion.
I don't really have questions for Mkoma Yuda, but I just want to say thank you so much for your role in the struggle since, the struggle began in 1999. Thank you for being a soldier in the struggle and for the work that you continue to do. And tinoramba tichiti murambe mushinyaradzwa nashe pakurasikirwa nasisi vedu. Tinonamata kuti maprocedures ese okutakura body to Zimbabwe aendeke munyasha. Thank you so much for making time, despite kuti muri panguva yokuchema. Tinokutendai zvikuru Mukoma Yuda.
Okay.
Thanks,
okay.
guys. We are making arrangements because since this happened, some people have helped me. Honestly, I was at a ground zero, but people have uplifted me. We've got our sister in Australia who has made tremendous contributions for the boat to be taken back home. Because I've just finished my school, my education, so I haven't got a job at the moment. I was at ground zero, but heads off to some people who just felt, hey, Woman Shepherd needs help at this junction. And thanks so much, Warume.
Thank you, Mukoma Shepherd, and tinongo chema treaties pamwe chete uye tinotide nomwaraka kubatsirai. For those who can help, we can just get in touch with him or anyone who is close to him. But we would want to thank you. But a short one, Mukoma Shepherd, especially on your narration Nema event, Mukoma Tonderai. Do you have much information about position ya Ndira nevana vake kuti so far how is their welfare and what is their position in a few minutes, Mukoma Shepherd?
Oh, thanks very much. Last week, she sent me a message on WhatsApp, because sometimes helping her here and there. And almost not every day, my shows and I raise a marriage, rice kuti vadyiwo kana paChristmas nyama and so forth. Saka akandisendera message. Dai kuri kuti pana panogona kuonekwa mapictures, ndaikusenderai mapictures aakandisendera achiti ari kutengesa kamusika kaari kutengesa here, ari kutengesa madrinks and so forth. Achidai ndawanawo mari yakati ndaita start yakati kurei kuti vanhu vana vachengeteke. Ipapo aitochema nditi Yuda mata neglect mhuri yaTonde. You know this. It's like because we used to.
Yeah, sorry, I feel for you, Mkoma Yuda. Let me excuse you. I know you are on a mission and now, but let us go through with what we're doing. Dr. Maifa, we had Mkoma Basta who was with us here first, and he was speaking. I asked him to let Mkoma Yuda speak before him, so that Mkoma Yuda we can excuse him. So can I give Mkoma Basta the chance to speak, after which we'll go to the next speakers? I don't know if I've done the right thing.
Go ahead, but those who want to inbox Mkoma Yuda about Ndira and other issues, please DM Mkoma Shepherd, or you can get hold of Mambo Sose.
In fact, Dr. Gwekwelele, with regards to the audio of our brother, Mr. Shepherd Yuda, his sister passing away in South Africa, we have created a PayPal link that is circulating. I don't know if you want to, we can pin it here, but we can also send it in other groups so that those who want to help can help.
Yeah, what you can do is that post it on any page right now. Since you are a speaker on this panel, if you post it on any Twitter handle, the link gonna yakandwa pana papa space pana so people can participate. I think that would be effective. That's how I usually do it. So just put it on your personal.
Citizen hand tibatsirewo mwanangu Mkoma Citizen hand tipinirewo link yacho, but you could also inbox me the link, because chirungu chokuzotera zvapiniwa handichigoni, unozogona kundiwhatsappirawo link yacho.
I think a person has to be a speaker here or a co-host for them to pin it. So they will share it on any Twitter handle, and then once they've shared it, any speaker Aripana Papa or a co-host can easily add by clicking the three dots, right? And then it will say kuti share to this space. Then you're via Panapa. I think it will be important to just send something. I was thinking, if we could send something like 10 pounds or $10, like I put in $10, and if we could all, let's say Kutipana Papatiri 30, we don't have to all do it. Then that $10 could become $300. I think he needs 800. Diesel. Yeah, he needs 830 or so, 830 pounds. So if people can put in a minimum of $10, that could help. It would help to the effort, because I think Panama Apple so far. Yeah.
Sorry, guys, can I be excused so that Numboita something?
Well, thank you, Mkoma Shepherd will get hold of you. Thank you, and motibatirao basa rokuchengetedza sisi vedu.
Akashayika mwana.
Oh, mwana. Okay.
Mwana.
Motichengeterawo mwana wedu.
That's it. Thanks, guys. Rambai makadaro ngatirambe takabatana nemashoko andiri kutaura. The struggle is still long. Tinogona kutadza kuona iFree Zimbabwe, but let's create a platform yekuti vana vedu kana vari kuti joinawo vari kuda struggle tiende mberi vanoona takamira tine footing. The struggle is long. Saka, this year we've got prospects of winning. Saka, kuwina kwedu my elections where this year tasunungura nyika. Apana patiripotese pana banda kubenefita kana tichinge tawina. We are doing it for the generation ichauya. Zimbabwe yakaparadzwa. We are not going to benefit anything, but we are going to rebuild it our time. Kuitira kuti vanozouyawo mangwana vazoziva kuti takabva kupi nestruggle taapapi tirikuenda kupi. So we continue to build our country under the leadership of President Nelson Chamisa. This is what I can only say to you at this juncture before I leave. I thank everybody for participating. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for offering to assist me. Andina mashoko akawanda ekutaura nongoti Mwari vakukomborere ndatenda zvangu. Goodbye.
Over to you, host.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I see Basta is not with us now. Oh, okay. Mukoma Basta, you can let me give you your 3 minutes, and then we go straight to Mambo Sose Simba, and then we take it from there. Thank you.
Yes. Thanks once again, the host.
Sorry, Mukoma Basta, and sorry, host. Mambo Sose has a program on the film President. Sorry, I apologize, Mukoma Basta. Can you allow him to go first so that he quickly runs to change radio?
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you. Mambo.
Dr. Amai, thank you. But I thought I was still going to speak after Mukoma Basta. But thank you, my brother, for giving way. I appreciate that. Thank you, Mukoma Denford, and everyone else who is here for this space. It's a very important space, a very important topic. Tonderai Ndira was one of us, is still one of us. I believe his spirit is still hovering above us and, helping us in this struggle that he was part of, that he started. And hearing from what Mukoma Shepherd said, I think it just puts into perspective what we need to do in this struggle, that we need to finish this struggle. We need to do everything that we can so that Zimbabwe is free for change, that we deliver a new great Zimbabwe in honor of people like Tonderai Ndira, in honor of all the people that have been maimed, that have been killed, that have been abused in this struggle. So if you had not started doing something in this struggle, I think this is the time. What Shepherd Judah did, it should be inspirational. It should inspire all of us to want to do something in this struggle. After what happened to Tichaona Chiminya, Talent Mabika in 2000, if you remember those young men, those young people that were gruesomely murdered, burnt to death near Murambinda. I remember I was coming from Masvingo. I wasn't driving. I was in a bus, but the bus stopped. We saw a car burning, a ball of fire. And only when we'd gotten to Murambinda did I realize that it was Tichaona Chiminya, it was Talent. There were people that were burning in that car. It just broke me. So after that happened, we never thought that we're going to see anything as gruesome as that. But 7-8 years later, we saw the gruesome murder of Tonderai Ndira. And today, we are also talking about More Blessing. The same way that More Blessing was murdered, that a person is cut into pieces and buried somewhere, and then found a month later. It's the same story. The search that was done for More Blessing Ali and the manhunt that was done for Tonderai Ndira, is almost similar, and how he was killed is similar, and what is happening right now is similar to what happened to Tonderai Ndira, and also what happened to Tshaona Chiminya, that the people that murdered these people, the people that set that car on fire in Murambinda, the people that killed Tonderai Ndira, the people that murdered our sister are still out there, walking scot-free. Those who come from Murambinda, you know about Joseph Male, you know about Zimunya, the people that murdered Talent and Tichaon. They were roaming scot-free at Murambinda Growth Point. Just like our sisters' murderers are roaming scot-free. Even today, we don't know what exactly happened to Tonderai Ndira. Even when they did the post-mortem, obviously we know that those results were interfered with. They said they didn't know how Tonderai Ndira died. But we know the people, our family, the MDC family, know what happened to Tonderai Ndira, that he was killed, that he was murdered. It's so sad. And I know we talk about these victims. Mr. Tuesday was also murdered. Bongenue was murdered. And the list goes on. That year in 2008, the year that our brother was murdered, over 500 people were murdered during that time, the lead up to the 2008 presidential election. And even after those 500 people were murdered, 50 more people were murdered during the run up to the rerun. And that was when Dr. Richard Morgan Tsvangirai said the famous statement that I'm not going to walk over dead bodies to the State House. And for the sake of the people of Zimbabwe, for the sake of more deaths, he went to Botswana. He was advised to go to Botswana. Whether he was supposed to have done it or he was not supposed to have done it, I know people now that are speaking from a different environment, from a different context, they will tell you that Dr. Richard Morgan Tsvangirai was not supposed to have gone away. You should have remained in the country. But that is what we do. We are spectators. We are there. We are in the stadium. We are not playing the ball. We're not there in 2008. So we can say what we can say. I know he has been ridiculed. Our leader has been ridiculed over that. And I will not go into that. But in the heat of the moment, in the heat of the situation, certain decisions were made. People were being murdered every day. What Yuda was saying was true. They were going door to door, knocking at every door, forcing open doors, getting people out. We're talking of these people that were murdered. But there were also over 2,000 people that were beaten up, that were tortured, that were terrorized. You can imagine those people today. Nobody's talking about them. But they were there. People were tortured. Women were raped during that time. The records say 2,000 people were tortured and beaten up. But those are just records. I'm telling you, that number was more than that. Even when we say 50 people were murdered during the second run-up, the number was more than that. Some of these numbers, you even see them in Herald. So you can see, if you see anything in Herald, you know that it has been greatly undermined. So, folks, in this struggle, we have lost people, we have lost comrades, and the biggest pain is to the survivors, the people, the children, the mothers, the sisters, because Tonderai Ndira was somebody's brother, he was somebody's father, he was somebody's son. We stop to think how those people are feeling right now. Some were asking after Ndira. I've had several conversations with her. We've tried to do the best that we can, the little that we can, including, sensitive things like trying to bring them over here. People have fundraised. We've fundraised, and one time we're trying to build the house that she was living in, a 2-roomed house, and initiatives have been done. But I think we can only do as much. It's very unfortunate. I wish we could do more for people like Ndira, Zamara, because I'm telling you, they're suffering. These were the breadwinners. The people that are being killed, that were murdered, are the breadwinners. And the 3 children right now struggle to go to school. Ndira vanotoita kutotengesa pamusika kuti vakwanise kuwana mari yekuti vaendese vana vavo pachikoro. But these are this Tonderai Ndira is our Steve Biko. He's our Solomon Mahlangu. I hope we all come together and gather together one day and remember these people and ensure that in the new great Zimbabwe, these people will be taken care of. These people will be remembered. Their families will be remembered. They've sacrificed the big sacrifice. I don't know what can be done. I don't know what this discussion is going to end up deciding. Is it a discussion to have a memory of what happened so that people know what happened, which is very good. People have to know what happened to our heroes, how it happened. It's important. These spaces, they set the record. But can we do more? Can we assist Ndira at least on a day? I know Advocate Masie is here. He has done a lot in terms of, in as far as Zamara is concerned. And I want to salute you, my brother, Advocate, for the work that you do every year. You never miss a year. You do a fundraiser, you arrange a space where people can come and speak. And Zamara is brought there, and she speaks and she talks about what is going on. Can we do the same for Zamara? Can the discussions that we have, end up, bringing up something? Can they end up in something that can be extended to the family? So this is the question that I leave you with. But in my closing remarks, I just want to say that the people like Dr. Richard Morgan Tsvangirai, Mai Susan Tsvangirai, Tonderai Ndira, Mr. Tuesday, More Blessing, all those people, they've gone, they've died as an ultimate sacrifice to this struggle. Find somewhere where you plug in. For if we don't do something about this situation now, in this year, in this election, then it means the sacrifices of all these great people would have gone to naught. If we do not come together and do the best that we can and remove ZANU-PF in 2023, we are done as a nation. We are done as a generation. And our children will be asking us, why didn't you? What did you do? Because ZANU-PF, after this, I don't think we'll be able to remove them. This is our best chance. The events that are happening, the gold mafia, the chrome mafia, the corruption activities that are being unveiled every now and again, all those are weapons that we can use. I know we can say there are bad things. Yes, they're painful, but we can convert that pain and everything that we are getting into a weapon, into a formidable weapon to which we can fight and remove ZANU-PF with. Let's come together, let's unite, let's support the fundraisers that are going on, let's support the programs, the party programs that are going on, and make sure we have money for our candidates. As you know, they'll be paying $1,000 each. The president needs $20,000. All those are things that have to be done by citizens, by us. We are the funders of our own struggle. Akusisina Madonna, Tistato Madonna Acho. So let's be prepared. Let's get ready. Thank you, Dr. Amai and Denford.
Yes, thank you very much, Amambo. So and you have asked very pertinent questions that need answers, and those pertinent questions. It is not Denford, it is not Simba, it is not Dr. Maifa, it's not Buster, it's not Diamond, it's not anyone. We have got to personally or singularly answer them. All of us, and not only the people who are on the platform, but Zimbabweans, we need to come together and say, this is what Tonderai Ndira did during the time. And remember, the time that he lost his life was the time when we were about to go for a rerun that Dr. Richard Morgan Changai had won. And he had won beyond the 50+1. But because of ZANU-PF's shenanigans, it managed to just go through. And all those results, I remember, for those who still have the recollection of what happened, they were held for quite a very long period of time. Why? Because they didn't want to make them out. But the people like Tonderai Ndira and the rest that participated in awareness to the people that the result is being stolen, and the regime wants to retain power at all costs, ultimately lost his life. Now that we know the conditions under which Mai Ndira is surviving, a number of widows and dependents for those activists who lost their lives, and there are quite a number of them. We are only speaking today of Tonderai Ndira, but we've got a number of them. I was going through the numbers; it's so quite substantial. So we need to make sure that, like Mkoma Mambososo is speaking about, that this is the only opportune time that we need to come together as Zimbabweans, because we won't be able to have any other moment. But Dr. Maifa, back to you before you give Basta the time to speak. Simba, I will shortly come back to you.
No, because of time, let Mkoma Basta speak, but we need to find solutions. And earlier on, we had said we need to have a way of communicating, a way of people sticking together, moving in groups, so that when they are attacked, they are together, a way of establishing safe houses, real safe houses, not the ones that are infiltrated. So let's move on to Mkoma Basta.
Thanks once again, host. I'm not going to be long. Shango compressors and underdog tower, because I already said a few things. Thank you very much once again for this initiative, Yamawena. I think going forward, we have to do more of such a thing. And again, in the future, probably it's worth in our history, it was wrong. Kuti vanhu takarasikirwa nawo nestruggle. Pandapesera kutaura ndandiri kutaura ndichiti vanhu vatiri kutaura nezvavavo vaikomera chingwa kuna baba ita vakaponda vana, which is unfortunate thing yekuti hurumende yatinayo iyi, looking back kwehistory vanoziva even mafiro akaita anatongogara, you would understand kuti ropa rakatanga kudaurwa ropa way before independence. Saka you would see matsimba acho up to current now. No matter how much we see them in churches, no matter how much we see them preaching peace, vane zvavakatakura, vane mweya yavakatakura kubva kugukura hundi nezvimwe zvatisiri kuziva. But the question which I want to pose now, how are we going to rescue ourselves from these jaws of the devil? I know kuti pane varakashari panapa vanopota vachiromberera maoko kana zvinhu zvakadai zvichiitika muchitwista the wickedness inoitwa nevatungamiriri venyu. But chinondifadza ndechekuti I'm not preaching, but chinondifadza, I believe things in a spiritual realm kuti zvinenge zvazoitika in the physical zvinenge zvamboitika kumashure. One other thing chakarambwa naMwari ndechekudeurwa kweropa remunhu. So we all know kuti zvinouya at a price. But problem yandinayo ndeyekuti patasvika panapa, we shouldn't have vanhu vanobvuma kutumwa kunze endai munoponda. Ndo vanhu ndichine problem now munyika yedu yeZimbabwe, because ropa riri kumashure uku rinoda kuti cleanse. And up to now kuna vafana vachirongotumwa kundovadeura ropa vachipara mhosva, because vari kudeurira ropa vanofuma vachidya bacon and egg. So how are we going to move from the current position at now, which is really sad? So in short, what I would say is that thank you very much for bringing this initiative tonight. And if we can, because we're not going to expect the government to come in, I think 1st of August, pane mukadzi anonzi Sylvia akapfurwa achibva kubasa. Then later on, ndakazonzwa murume wapo achipa report kuti, are you getting any assistance from the government? Akati hakuna since assistance yatakawana kubva government. Ndiri kuzvitaurira izvi, ndiri kutaura kuti we will never takasazviita isusu hama dzangu nekunyengetedzana kwedu tinenge tisiri kuita zvakanaka kune hama dzedu idzi, because chishuvo chavo ndechekuti murume wavo, mwana wavo, baba vavo vangadai vari vapenyu. But it didn't happen that way, because it's either they've spoken out or, you know, they were fighting for the right thing. So zvatsarira isusu nemoyo wedu, because vatiri kudhira navo ndo vakadeura ropa. So I would encourage you guys, tiri panapa kana muchikwanisa, yes, it would be a noble idea, good idea, ekuti tibatsire hama dzedu idzi, because tiri tega. Say why dzisina mufudzi. So anozoda kutora nguva yakareba because kune zvakawanda zvichada kuzotaurwa. For now, I'll just return the mic kwamuri ndichimboteerera. Thanks a lot.
Yes, thank you very much, Mkuma Basta. And that's an initiative that everybody would want. I was thinking to myself to say, as we talk of political history, political violence in Zimbabwe, we most of us would always think of what happened between 2000 and maybe recently, but political violence in Zimbabwe actually stretches back even right down before independence. During the liberation struggle itself, there were a lot of people who had their issues being affected not by the Smith regime, but from within even those people who were fighting. So we have got victims from there. And also, as we speak about what happened in the 1980s, during the elections of 1980, there were a lot of people who, not because they were from the Smith regime, but ordinary Zimbabweans who could have lost their lives, who had who were violated because of them differing from ZANU-PF. Unfortunately, that's what happened. When I'm making these references, I would want to just check with them to say, Amongst those people during that time, Kukura Wood people during before independence until now, did we have a situation in which the government had to say, we have got these victims, can we just make some funds available for them? We do not have such a scenario. And unfortunately, like Pastor have said, it is the responsibility of ourselves. But the biggest responsibility that we need to take is to say, let us put in place a government that is going to be serving the interests of the people. And in that case, when you've got the government that is in place, that looks at the welfare of the people, that knows that there are some people who were shortchanged because of their political inclinations, we need to help them. Then we have Raja Misavachita Basara Rano Silva. So what we need to do is to say, the grander cause that we have here is to make sure that August is our month. August is the month that we need to make a change. That change is going to help not only me, who is advocating for change, but also those people that we are speaking about today. But thank you very much, Mkoma Pastor. Let's quickly go to Mkoma Tendai. Go ahead. Tendai, you are muted. Can you unmute and speak?
Hi, Mkoma Denford. Can you just give me maybe 3 minutes if I can come up maybe after one speaker, because I'm just finishing up something here. Thank you.
Okay, that's no problem. Unfortunately, we no longer have any speakers here. But what I'm going to do, Dr. Maifa, if you've got anything to speak about, you can speak. But I was going to quickly talk. Okay, go ahead, Dr. Maifa.
If you want to quickly speak, and I will speak. Do you have anything urgent to speak? Or I go ahead?
No, go ahead, Dr. Maifa. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, host, for your comments there. Indeed, we have to do something about the situation in Zimbabwe. And like always, when we have these spaces, we need to find solutions for people like Tonderai Ndira's family. The first thing is people must register to vote so that such things will never happen again. Then we need to have a very powerful welfare department to say if citizens have issues, welfare issues, the government or the state should take care of its citizens. Right now, tinogona kita konde zvanhasi, but how about tomorrow? Until next year, when we commemorate the death again in May, vanenge vachimbodyei, you see? So the best is to make people register to vote and just change the whole system. And I wish people would start compiling the list of such families so that when the right government gets into place, these people can also receive some kind of help so that the children can be sent to school, families can get food and stuff like that. But if we know in our communities or wherever we are, people who are this much disadvantaged, let's take care of them, please. Let's take care of them. And some people have been traumatized. I told you my brother, my own blood brother, my sibling, was very politically active in Mtoko there. His village home in Usumba Maramba Fungwe, when it was bent down and he was beaten up, right now, he doesn't talk politics. He talks about Christ all the time. That's what he's focusing on. And the situation has really traumatized him, has really changed him. He doesn't support ZANU-PF, of course, he doesn't. And if he goes to vote, he will vote for anything but not ZANU-PF. But right now, he's traumatized to an extent that he wants to stay away from politics. It's like a no-go area for him. So we also want some psychological counseling for such victims so that we don't also lose them along the way. And I want to remind the listeners and speakers on this platform that one of our invited guests for today, Koma Shepherd Yuda, is a bereavement. But despite that bereavement, he managed to make way to give his submission. He lost a daughter in South Africa, and he's trying to put together resources to repatriate the body to Zimbabwe. So those who can, I kindly ask you to interact with the link that has been pinned on top of this page by Simbach Kanza. And for those who have interacted with the link, Kuvisa Chema, as per our tradition, please, I thank you so much if you have already done so. And if you can, and if you are willing, please do so. Ndo chivanhu chedu ichocho tinobatsirana panguva dzinenge dzakaoma dzakadai. So I don't know if Tendai is now ready. Mkoma Tendai, are you now ready? Simba was on the speakers. I don't see him now. Over to you, Mkoma Tendai.
All right. Thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you very much, Mkoma Denford there, and all the listeners here. Yeah, what brought me up here was the issue. Yeah, Mkoma varipo our guest, Mkoma Shepherd. The issue ya my Ndira yekuti she's struggling at the moment. A lot of people they do a lot of spaces and fundraisings and so forth. So I just came up to say, firstly, before I give a bit of contribution towards the solution of how can we help here, I just want to say there's a speaker who spoke about the issue of knowing each other wherever we are in the rural areas regarding the issue of my elections at Pahari. Kuti, let's know each other. If we are champions, perhaps kwatinobvawo isusu kumusha kwamutaro, you must know your area and your community and your people. Let's try to, of course, we know that the ZANU-PF is very cruel that if they hear that we are moving in groups, in numbers, they will try to attack us in the sense of saying we want to cause violence and whatsoever. But I think it's wise, 3 or 4 people, when time comes, we need to know each other and we need to be together always. Let's move in groups. And usually when you know someone next to you, if something happens to that person, or perhaps the person is being attacked or adakutorwa and so forth, if you shout and muriwanu, let's say for example in a community muriwanu 5, 6, 7, you fight together so that ita kuti mumwe wenyu asatorwe. So it's a very important solution to the issue of abductions uyezve nekuatakwa kwevanhu, especially in also in rural areas, because in rural areas people they tend to be very scared in the sense yekuti vanenge vachita vanhu vavazotorwa nevanhu vane motikari vane pfuti, so is the government. And in our country hakuna pfuti dzinongofamba famba, and you know how scared people are when it comes to guns. So let's have more groups to fight against this election when the election time is here like now. And the issue also, on these spaces, there's a guy, I'm sorry I have to mention names. Tinemkomana nonzi Finals Kamunda. If I think a lot of people know him. from these spaces. He's quite a good guy who can organize things like fundraising and so forth. He usually works with Koma Ian. I can see Koma Ian is here. So it's something that we need to utilize these people. And we also have to always ask them to help us, just creating a platform where we can do the fundraising and see how can we help in situation like this, because it's quite devastating. And zvinhu zvinorwadza kuti munzwe kuti munhu who lost a husband in that manner have to struggle to an extent yekuti munhu anenge ane kamusika kemajigizi out there after all that her husband have done to us, because Tonderai was fighting for us today to be here where we are, and we have the energy to say, guys, let's mobilize people, let's register to vote. It's something that Tonderai have already started, and some of us, we were not much into politics that time. We were still young, high school and so forth, but when we read about these issues, we have seen these people, they have played a pivotal role in this fight against the ZANU-PF regime. So we need to organize our host, please, if you can do so. Talk to finals. I know some people they will criticize it and so forth and said we have to go another channel, but there are people that we know that these people, they are very good at this. They organize people, and they have done that before, even with Mai Zamara. He even brought Mai Zamara as well on Twitter Spaces, and people they had to engage with her and watching from the horse's mouth what is exactly taking place mukurarama kwavari kuita. I think it would be wise kuti mubate finals, then it or not, what can we do on Konma Tonderai Ndira's wife. Yeah, let's try to unite people, and let's do away with the issue of people who say we are not going to win elections. This is our only opportunity we have now. Like the previous speaker have said, if we don't wake up now and fight together as citizens, I'm telling you, after this election, the upcoming election, vanhu vachangodzoka mudzimba dzavo, they continue their lives. Munhu anenge akutongotanga kutongozvionera kuti no, I think politics dzemuZimbabwe it's very difficult to do it. So we have to make sure that this time is the only time we have to put Chamisa there, and we have to fight. If it means we have to be fierce as well, we have to come together and fight together as one, as a nation. Let's not be demoralized by these people who come on spaces walakashi wachitiudza kuti there's nothing you can do. Zimbabwe yakauya neropa. Zimbabwe yakauya neropa of our forefathers as well. Tine hama dzakafa during the Chimurenga time, and vana vavo vakasiya, they are still not benefiting up to date. And even the old people, they can't even get my pension fund wakarwara. A lot is happening, and you have seen it yourselves that we really need new leaders there, because they are not benefiting anything out of all that they have done. Wanachi Mbwido and so forth. You can see they are not benefiting from this regime that is only there for the minority people. It's just a certain group of people that are plundering everything that we have as a nation, of which, if there's fairness and if these people have got heart and they have love for the people, they could have been sharing and at the same time making sure that we have basics on the table. But look at the inflation rate. People, they can't even afford a decent life, even basic things like paracetamol. They always post every day. It looks like he's talking too much, or Arkungo spread that the issue they are doing wrong here, they're doing wrong. But that's exactly what is happening. So if you don't knock on our heads and say, guys, these people are doing this and this and this, we tend to sleep. So let's wake up, let's work together. This election, we are going to put Nelson Chamisa there, and I'm telling you, Zimbabwe will be a better place. We need change today. Let's unite as Zimbabweans. Thank you so much.
So thank you very much, Mukoma Tendai, and we get so much of lessons from what you have just expressed. We as we come to almost come to the end of our program, I think we need to make a reflection of what the life of Tonderai Ndira entailed, especially to the broader Zimbabwean politics. We need to make sure that where we are standing today. Remember, Tonderai Ndira lost his life in 2008. This is almost it's actually 15 years from the time of his death. And like I said before, it's not only him. We have got a lot of Tonderais in Zimbabwe. I could have wanted to read the list of all the MDC activists who died in the hands of ZANU-PF between 2008 and 2013. Then you would have realized that we've got a regime that is bloodthirsty. We have got a regime that doesn't even care about the lives of people. Just yesterday or 3 days ago, we were talking about this other lady who came through a platform and said, because of Advocate Mayere's speech at the United Nations in Geneva, human rights a conference that they were, and she spoke again ill about a government. And what is important for Zimbabweans is to get rid of her. We need to wait for her at the airport and bring some about 5 or so people to beat her up. These are the genesis of the political violence that you are talking about. These are the people who are making threats to human life. And if somebody is hearing about what they are talking about, then it means somebody who could have done something that is not inconsistent with what you believe. The only thing that you can do is to perpetrate violence on them. But that is not the Zimbabwe that we need in a new Zimbabwe that is coming shortly. So what we need to speak about is how really, and we have spoken about it, to say this is the Zimbabwe that we are going to be having, and we need to speak against such people. How can we come together as Zimbabweans? We have been polarized by Mugabe and Mnangagwa themselves, the Mugabe regime, the so-called new dispensation. We are having a lot of problems. If we are going to be having statistics of how many abductions did we have just between 2017 and October 2019, you realize that about 69 people actually were abducted by the so-called the new dispensation. And then you start to say, did we really have to come to this place to such an extent that people are losing their lives by the regime that speak of it as a caring and a listening regime? So we need to speak against this. But before we conclude, let me just hand over to Dr. Maifa to speak her mind before we close. Thank you, Dr. Maifa.
Thank you, host, and thank you, everyone on this platform. I want to thank everyone for being here as a listener or as part of the audience. We really appreciate you. And we want to find solutions to political violence because we know in a few months' time, we'll be having elections in Zimbabwe. And we don't want any kind of violence. No verbal aggression, no physical aggression, any kind of violence. So it will start with us as individuals to say, let's be kind to each other. What we say to others or how we say it can be some kind of aggression, can be some kind of violence, and some will now develop that into physical violence. So takangogara tiri vanhu vakangoteramira vanozvibata vane hunhu zvinotibatsira because this issue of always fighting, it doesn't end well for others. And let's help protect our families back home, and let's keep spreading the word of peace. Let's give them even ideas, those who can write, those who can do those TikTok videos. I wish I was still young and could do those technology stuff, make TikTok videos about peace in the communities there as we go towards the election, just preaching peace and, preaching against any form of political violence. We are families. Hakuna mai vakazvara vana veZANU PF vakazozvara umwe wetriple C. So we are all Zimbabweans, and it should be in every Zimbabwean's heart to understand that we think differently, we appreciate things differently. Anoda hake zvezanu musiya akadaro, ukamurova ndokuti zviite sei. Anoda zvetriple C wongomusiyawo wakadaro. Tisashandiswa. I don't know how to knock it into young people's heads. Kushandiswa just because wapuwa doro $10 wakunorova chembere dziri uko komangwana ende ngozi inongouya kumba kwako ka. So let's really desist from this. And it's so sad when you see the surviving family members having to struggle because the breadwinner has been taken away. It's so painful. And I'm glad that even here on the platform, I see people with social work doctorates and stuff like that. I hope we are going to really work towards the change of Zimbabwe. Thank you. Urukutiko tadona. Hello. Tendai, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, doctor. We can hear you.
Okay.
Now, just now.
Okay. So I give the time back to the host.